Welcome to today's video where we're going to prepare your sales script and also make sure that you have a sales tracking sheet in place for your business. It's a very important video, a very powerful video. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it. All right, we're inside of my computer. Let's go. Here's what we're going to cover today. First of all, the sales script, the sales tracking, and then a summary at the end. It's going to be very straight to the point and a ton of value here, right? So subscribe and follow me on YouTube and on Instagram as well for important updates regarding the course. I need you guys' help. Share the course. You know this by now. Warning, this is the most important video in the entire course. Make sure that you watch the entire video. Don't skip, don't fast forward. And also make sure that you watch all of the videos in sequential order. Before you dive into this video, it's crucial that you watch all of the videos in module number 4. Potentially you've watched them 2 or 3 times already. You have to know what spin is by now, and you have to know about the concept about spin. And you should know about the different spin questions as well, the situation, problem, implication, and need payoff. In the previous video that I recorded, you should have listened to that video at least 2 times and kind of gone through these different scenarios. And maybe you've even started to like play around with spin with your friends or family members and so forth, right? So that's crucial. Also pro tip, watch this video in double speed if you want to save yourself some time. So now let's go over the sales script. So I prepared a sales script for you, and this is just a template, right? But this will be a great beginning for you, and you can adjust this to your own agency. So you can go to maxpearson.com/sales-script. So I'm going to open this up. It's going to take you to a Google sheet. You can click on file and then make a copy or save it to your own computer. So, and I've just created this off the cuff, right? And this is a template. You're not going to. It gives you an idea of how to structure the call, and you can print this out and have this in front of you. But over time, you want this to get ingrained in you so that you can just ask these questions in your sleep, essentially, right? So only use the script as a guide. Read it, practice it, digest it, and customize it to make it your own. You don't want to read the script verbatim on your calls, but you rather just want to use the script as a guide, as a tool to guide you through the call. Remember to always take notes on the prospect's answers to your questions, because you want to be able to retell the story back to him or her during the call. And I've given a ton of examples regarding this up until this video. We're most likely going to reiterate it a bit in this video as well. But the most important thing when you ask questions is that you understand the concept of spin, that you know what an implication question is and why it is important, and also what a need payoff question is and why it is important, right? So even if you have like a guide like this, you're not going to follow this guide exactly on every single call, because the call can go different ways. So the most important thing is that you're just aware of the spin framework. If you're like, you ask him a problem question, and he tells you about the problem, like right away your brain should say, here's a problem. Let's dig into that problem with need payoff questions. Let's explore this problem and see if we can make this problem bigger immediately. So even if you don't have that specific question here in the script, you should know about implication questions, right? Same thing if you identify positive. Boom, your brain should say, let's dive deeper into this. Let's ask more need payoff questions. Let's see if we can explore this further to make this bigger and better. Why do they like if they tell you like, hey Max, I really like this presentation and I really like the system that you have. Instead of saying, that's nice, thank you so much, you can just tell them, that's awesome, thank you so much, I appreciate that. What exactly do you like about the system? Well, I really like the ad side of things. I've never tried YouTube ads. And also, I really like the idea of the retargeting and that we can do that cross-platform on all the platforms. I really like that. Oh, that's awesome. So what do you like about the YouTube ads? Well, I think there's great potential there. We have great videos to use, and we've done TV commercials in the past very successfully. So I think YouTube is going to be a great platform. Okay, so like, do you see, like, why do you think video is better? Do you like... Yeah, a great question. So, normally we see higher quality leads come in when we use video, because people, they kind of already know us, so things like that. Always keep this in mind. And then come prepared, right? So start the Google meeting, or it's a Zoom meeting, 5 minutes before. Make sure that you have a mic and webcam working. So make sure that the mic is working, make sure that the webcam is working, because you want to have that on. And we've talked about that. Also have a pencil and a notepad, right? Make sure that you have that handy so that you can take notes on everything. Also, it's very nice to have a bottle of water with you. And a trick that you can use on your sales calls, it's like how I like to use the water bottle is, first of all, it's nice to just be able to take a sip of water, right? Because as you talk, you might get dry in your mouth, and it's just nice to be able to have some water. But also what's really good, and how I use the water bottle on the sales calls, is that if I'm asking you a question, Or for example, we get to a scenario where I want you to talk, right? So for example, I tell you about the price, right? So I do the price drop and I tell him, yeah, it's going to be $297 per month. All of this is included, and that's that. And now the prospect is starting to think, okay, all of this is included in all of the price. And just to show that person that, you know, I want you to speak right now, I can just slowly take up my water bottle, looking into the camera like this, and just start to drink, right? I can just drink, because immediately I cannot talk when I'm drinking, right? So immediately I'm giving the word over to you. Now it's your time to speak, because I'm going to drink water now, right? So you can use the water bottle like that as well. And also it's a nice thing to kind of, you know, reflect some attention off you for a second. So if you're becoming very nervous, or you know, it becomes a very tense situation in the call, to kind of just break it, you know, instead of just sitting there like awkwardly in silence, you can just like take up your water bottle and take a sip of water. And immediately it will be the other person's job to kind of continue the conversation, right? So the water bottle is, I love to use the water bottle like that, okay? Just a small little tip, okay? Also, relax, you know, so relax when you jump on the sales call. Breathe and remember that the other person on the other side of the call is just a normal human being, just like yourself, right? They're just looking for a solution that will benefit their business. Do your best to present your solution and value. Don't feel the stress of making the sale. Rather focus on making sure that the prospect understands the value that you can bring to the table. So immediately now in the beginning, when you start to maybe do your first sales call ever, don't feel the stress that you need to make the sales call, because either way you're going to win. You're going to gain experience a ton in the beginning. Your learning curve is going like this in the beginning. So by just getting the call and just going through doing a professional sales call with this framework that I'm giving you, with the spin questions and doing the pitch deck, it doesn't really matter if you make the sale or not, because you're going to become a lot better and more comfortable in doing the sales call. And also you're going to get a ton of information from the market, because you're asking good questions now, so they will tell you a bunch of things. And everything that you learn on the sales calls are things that you will learn in your own sales process later. Because yeah, this is something that is very important for me to mention as well, because as you do sales calls, you will learn about your market more. You will learn what they do, what they don't do. You will learn the problem that pretty much everybody have in the market. Once you've talked like 30 business owners in your niche, you will know that, or you will notice that pretty much all of these people have the same problems, right? And when you know that, you can use that in your ads, right? Or in your VSL video. You can tell them like, hey, you know, we know that most of our customers have these problems, A, B, and C. And pretty much everybody who watched that video will be like, huh, that's me. I also have that problem, right? And you know that now because you've been on sales calls talking to business owners. So learning more about your market, the best way you can do that is on a sales call, and by asking questions and presenting them with a solution and see how they react, and so on and so forth, right? So don't be nervous on the sales call that you're like, huh, this is my shot, this is my chance, I have to make a sale. Just don't focus on that. You know, if they buy, if they see value, you know, you don't have to be a pushy salesperson, because if you do the pitch deck in a good way, and if you identify the problems and needs, they're gonna buy anyways. If they see value in what you have, it doesn't matter if you're like a super pushy salesperson. They're gonna be like, yeah, let's do this. I see the value in this and I wanna buy, right? And it doesn't matter how young you are or how old you are, or if you're a beginner or if you're super experienced. If they see value, they will give you a shot. And also what I want to mention here as well, that the other person that you're talking to, they're just a normal human being. Even if you get a booked call with somebody who, you know, they tell you on the survey that they're making $20 million per year, and you're gonna meet with the owner of that business, and that might make you nervous in the beginning, right? Because, oh, here's this like, you're putting them on a pedestal. Here's this super smart human being who's worth a ton of money, he's running a huge business. He's going to, you know, he's going to run over me. It's going to be super scary. You know, it's just a fictional idea in your head. It's not true. He's a human being, or she is a human being, just like yourself. They go to sleep every single night. They go to toilet every single day. They eat food every single day. They have a family that they care about. They have their own demons that they're battling with. And you know, just because they have running a big business doesn't mean that they're some type of god or anything. They're just a normal human being. And in my experience, the more successful somebody is, the more humble they are and the more respectful they are as well. And they also appreciate the entrepreneur. Like, the more successful an entrepreneur is, they love to see other people who are doing like the fundamentals the right way. For example, you have like when you do everything in this way that I'm teaching you, that you're a specialist, you have a cap on your clients, you know that you're using some risk reversal stuff, you know about spin, you also know how to ask the right questions, identify needs and problems and desires. You also have a professional, valuable pitch deck that they actually find valuable. You know, the more successful the business owner is, they're going to recognize this. They're going to be like, huh, this is a young guy or a young girl, let's say, or it doesn't really matter the age, but let's say you're younger, right? They're going to appreciate a lot that you're like, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, he's asking me the right questions. He's a specialist. He has the scarcity and urgency in there, which I like. You also have to have the risk reversal in there. They will be able to see all of this because they have that experience. And also they will like the way you do sales and the way you do follow-up. So just by them noticing that, they're going to appreciate you and show you respect. And they're also going to trust you more and trust you with their money more. Because if you're showing professionalism in the way you do sales and prospecting, or in how you do your sales calls and asking questions, and that you're aware about spin and so forth, if you have that in order, then you most likely have your service in order as well, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything. So yeah, that's a tangent on that, but I just wanted to share that with you. So don't be nervous when you talk to very successful business people, right? Small talk, right? So 1 to 3 minutes. Simply set a good vibe for the call before you dive into business. Be yourself, greet the prospect with a genuine smile, and show some interest in their personal life. For example, hey John, nice to meet you. How are you doing today? Where are you from? I see that you have that sports shirt on the wall. Have you played football yourself? Or no, it's like yada yada yada. Or I see that you have that baseball thing there. You know, just do some friendly talk. I'm from Sweden. I normally talk about Sweden. You know, I ask them like, you know, they can see that it's dark outside when I'm doing my sales call. Yeah, you know, I live in Sweden. Have you ever been? And then you can talk about Sweden. Yeah, I have a relative there. Yada yada yada. Right? So spend some minutes there, 1 to 3 minutes. If you know, you will notice here if the person want to talk more personal stuff, spend 4 to 5 minutes then max. If it's somebody who's like, yeah, no, very short answers, then just like, hey, let's just dive into business. He's here because he want to learn more about what we do, right? And then set the agenda, right? So the main goal here is just to get the prospect to understand how the call will play out, set a framework. He, she will now understand that you will ask some questions first, then you will share your presentation, and after that you will discuss price. So just make sure that both parties on the call understand and agree upon how the call will go. And I've talked about this on multiple times already in here module 4, but it's just important that both parties knows how the call will go. And so like, first I will ask you some questions, then I'll show you the presentation, and then we can discuss the offering and the price. If you don't do that, then the call can go all over the place and it's just going to be a mess. And if you remember in the, okay, let's just continue. Is it okay with you, John, if I just dive straight into the call? And it's going to say yes. And then you just have a quick pitch here, right? Okay, so normally on these calls, I like to spend just a couple of minutes first to get to know a little bit more about your business, what you do, what you're looking for, what you're doing in terms of advertising right now. Once that is done, I would love to show you our presentation, show you what we do and how that works, client results, testimonials, all of that good stuff. And then at the end, we can take it from there and discuss the pricing and our offering and all of that. Is that okay with you, John, right? And he will say yes. So you notice you just say that off the cuff. You don't have to take this verbatim as I've been writing here, right? Just say it in your own way. The main thing is that you just kind of set the agenda, okay? And then you have some example spin questions here, right? So again, I'm not telling you that these are the exact questions that you are going to ask. These are some good starting questions. The main thing though is that you understand spin, that you understand situation, problem, and implication, and need payoff questions, because all of you are going to have different niches and different services and different types of business people that you talk to, different business owners. So you have to adjust this to your business. The main thing again is that you're aware of implication and need payoff. Your brain should be like, problem, let's dig into implication. Oh, here's something that they want to, or something that they like, dig into that. Why do they like this? Need payoff questions, okay? So Yeah, okay, John, please tell me a little bit more about your business. What makes your business unique? Why do people buy from you instead of competitor? Like, what does your current sales and advertising process look like? How much do you currently pay per lead? How much do you pay per appointment? How much do you currently pay to generate a new customer right now? Dig deeper into this with the implication questions or need payoff question. Or yeah, so for example, like, yeah, you know, we're paying $120 per duplicate lead right now. Okay, are you happy with that? No, we're not. Okay, why not? Implication questions, implication questions. How do you think that affects your business? Implication questions. Or maybe they tell you, actually, we don't track right now. We don't really know how much we pay per lead. And then that's a great problem, right? Because if they're spending a lot of money into advertising and they have no idea what's getting back to them, then that's like that you have an open goal. You can just implication questions. Okay, John, so how do you think that affects your business? Like if you're spending $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 per month right now into advertising and you don't know how much you pay per lead, do you think that's affecting your business in any way, shape or form? Yeah, good question actually. Yeah, obviously we don't really know where the leads are coming from. Okay, so how do you think that affects it? Well, obviously, you know, if we knew where the leads were coming from, we can just spend more money into that and not into the other things. Okay, so you're basically telling me that like you're potentially like wasting a ton of money right now because you can't track it? Yeah. Okay, so how much money do you think that you're wasting then? Actually, I don't really know. Do you think that could be beneficial to you to look into that? Yes, definitely. I should definitely do that. Thank you so much for pointing that out to me, right? Things like that. So you can actually help them by doing these questions as well. Just to get them to just identify it for them. Just help them to identify it, right? How much do your business generate per year right now? Where do you want to grow the business to within the next 12 to 24 months? What's the main obstacle right now that's hindering you from scaling your business right now? You know, it's the advertising or the sales or whatever that might be. Dig deeper into that as well with the implication questions. And then how would things be different in your life if you was actually able to grow from the $1 million to $3 million per year? How would that affect your life and your business? Well, yeah, obviously I would make more money, which would be really nice, they might say. Short answer. And they're like, okay, but what would you do with that money? Well, I would definitely start hiring more. Okay, dig deeper, right? Your brain should be like, dig deeper. Okay, what should you hire? Yeah, some more sales reps, definitely, and an office manager. Like an office manager would be really nice because right now I'm doing a ton of different things. Okay, so if you would make more money, you would hire more people, and how would that like affect you? Well, I would have more time to spend more time on more valuable stuff. Okay, so what things are those? Well, I could spend more time on, you know, the high level thinking and strategizing, and spend more time, you know, meeting my clients a bit more and do that stuff to like get more feedback from the market and produce a better service and product and all of that. Okay, do you think that would like benefit your business to make more money? Yeah, definitely. You know, so dig deeper, okay? So, and then once you're done with all of the questions, retell the entire story back to the prospect. This will prove to the prospect that you've listened carefully and that you understand his or her problems and needs. Because remember, the only way you will be able to have a custom solution for your client is if you understand their specific problems and needs, okay? So again, that's why you should have the pen and paper in front of you, ask the questions and write down notes on all of the different answers to the questions that they told you. I've already talked about this in length in the previous videos, but the reason why you want to do this, right, is because you just want to prove to the prospect that you have listened and that you understand their problems. So, you know, if you ask them questions for 10 to 15 minutes, and if you remember the answer to the first question that you asked. So please, John, tell me a little bit more about your business. And they tell you everything about their business, how it started. And they're very proud about that, right? They're like, yes, we started this in 1978 and it was my dad who started it from the ground up and he's been able to grow it to this. And then this happened, then that happened. If you just have notes about that, you can just tell John, after 15 minutes, John might have even like forgot that he told you about this because now you've been talking about sales and marketing and leads and different Google ads and sales processes and his dreams and desires for the future, like all over the place. So he's already forgotten that he told you about how he started his business. And then you just tell him like, hey John, so okay, let me see if I got this correctly. So you started the business, or your dad started the business in 1978. He grew it to $2 million within the first 2 years. Then he started to hire more people, yada, yada, yada. And since then you've been doing this and you've tested this and now you're doing this and you're currently making this amount of money. You want to grow the business to this and you think that the main thing that's stopping you is this. And you really want to fix this because if you fix this, you can hire more people, which in return is going to help you to hire even more people and give you more free time to do those valuable things things that's going to help you to grow the business even more. And at the end of the day, you're just looking for a marketing solution that works and helps you to bring in more leads, deals, and clients on demand with predictability. Is that correct? He's going to be like mind blown, like, oof. He's like, this guy has listened to me exactly, he remembers everything. And he's going to be like, how did he remember all of that? And the only thing you've done is going to like simple notes, like 1978, dad, right? Can be like, okay, if you wrote that, you know that his dad started the business in 1978, $1 million or $2 million, 2 years. Okay, it grew to $2 million in 2 years. So you just take notes, and then you just have it from top to bottom on your in your notepad. You just have like a story, and then just you retell the story in your own words. Yeah, Google, okay, I tested this, didn't like this, etc. And then he's going to know that you've listened to him, so he's going to be super impressed. He's going to sit back and like smile, because that's normally what happens. Because it's impressing. If I tell you and you remember everything and you just retell my life back to me, I'm going to be like, hey, this guy is a genius. He remembers everything. So it proves to you that I've listened to you, and it also proves to you that I understand you. I understand your problem. And the only way for me to have a custom solution to a problem is that if I understand you, right? If you go back to the tie, the custom tie that we talked about in the previous video, the only way that the store owner selling nice ties, the only way that he can have a custom solution for me is that if he understands what I'm looking for by asking questions and then getting that data and then finding a custom solution for me. And that's also what's really cool when you do your pitch deck then, because when you know this custom solution or what they're looking for custom, you can just mention those custom things. You know, for example, he's telling you that, yeah, he want to dig more into branding. Then you can talk more about branding when talk about retargeting. So you can like, hey, and this retargeting piece here, this is exactly why we use retargeting, because it's going to help you. It helps our clients to brand their business across platform. And maybe you've told you that he want to be seen everywhere all the time. And then you can talk more about there. And now it's a custom solution for him. And you can talk more about that, extra about that specific thing, because you know that this specific prospect cares about that thing, right? So yeah, I start hoping that you're starting to get the idea. And yeah, so you retell the story, and then once you've retold the story, you just ask them, okay, is that it, John? Is that an accurate like understanding of what you're looking for, so forth? Either is going to see like, yeah, that's perfect, man, that's exactly it. Or he will fill in some more stuff, right? And then you just listen to that. And then after that is done, you move to the next step. And then you can just tell them, okay, John, so perfect. That's pretty much all that I need for now. That's pretty much all of my questions for now. So is it okay if I tell you a little bit more about what we do? And he's just be like, yeah, please do. And then you just, okay, so I'm just gonna share my screen, and then you bring up the pitch deck presentation, and then you tell them like, okay, so this is going to take maybe 10 to 12 minutes or something like that. But please don't like, feel free to interrupt me anyway, or during the presentation. Please interrupt me if you have any questions. And then you just go through the pitch deck. So share screen, go over the pitch deck. Remember to pause and ask the prospect a couple of times during the presentation as well if they have any questions. So like in each and every new chapter, like if once you've gone over the case studies and testimonials, let's say, or the problems or your solution, just pause like for a second and just ask. It's just a nice thing to do. Just, John, any questions so far? Or do you like it so far? Or how do you like this, John? Any questions regarding that? And either gonna be like, no, looks awesome, perfect. Or they're gonna tell you, yeah, I actually have a question regarding that. So it's very nice to just give them the chance to talk, because a lot of people are like too polite to interrupt you. You're going through your presentation and they might have a question. And the worst, I'm not talking from experience here, the worst experience you can have as a buyer on the sales call is if you're getting a question that you really wanna ask for that specific slide, let's say, but you don't get the chance to ask it. And then the calls just continue, and then it's 10 minutes later, and you're like, you forgot about it, or you don't really care about that anymore, and you're just gonna skip it, right? So always like look at the prospect in the cab and see kind of how they act, and if they're listening, or if they're showing interest to something. Oh, that's interesting. Just ask them like, any question regarding that, John? And he's like, yeah, that's interesting actually. You know, just give them the chance to talk. So yeah, very, very powerful. And then at the end, you do like a Q&A and close, and you spend like 10 to 15 minutes on that. So the prospect will naturally have questions regarding your agency system and offer during and after the sales presentation. Respond to the best of your ability. If you can answer it, simply let him or her know that you will get back to him with an answer directly after the call and like after checking with your team, right? So for example, if you get a specific question regarding an ad or a landing page and you might know that exact detail right now, first of all, it's great that you get that question because now you can learn it and then you can have that answer for the next call. But then, you know, if you don't know the answer, don't try to give them an answer because it might be a tricky question. They might already know the answer and they just want to test you. They might know about ads themselves and they just want to throw you a jab and kind of see kind of how you react. Like, is this guy a real fighter or is he just like a fake guy, right? You know, so don't try to respond to questions that you don't know the answers to. The best way you can respond is like, John, that's a great question. I will actually have to double check with Nick, my media buyer, just to double check with him on that, and I will get back to you with an answer immediately right after the call. Like Nick, he's like the genius media buyer. Like I know quite a bit about media buying, but he's 10 times better than me. And then he will respect that. He was like, huh, perfect. This guy, he has like a guy on his team who knows all of that. Perfect. And then you can look it up. You can talk to your media buyer and so forth, right? Also, with a good pitch deck, you will have minimum objections because you've already answered them during the presentation. So this is also a reason why having a good pitch deck is just so great, because now, like, the reason why people have objections is mostly because they don't understand something, or they missed something, or you've just told them that you're going to do ads for them and get leads, but they're like, how are you going to do that? Or why does that work over this? Or why is this a good idea? And I've heard this is a good idea. So that's why it's really good to do a pitch deck, because you set the agenda for the entire, you set the framework for the entire call. You kind of feed them with information to their head, and then that's what you guys are going to talk about. If you don't mention or show them anything, they can tell you anything or everything, right? But once you kind of set the framework for the call and you kind of decide what gets into their brain with the slides, then that is naturally what they will kind of believe in and trust in. And when you do the pitch deck in a good way, as I've shown you, you also empower the buyer, because now you show them exactly what you're going to do. Here's what the ads are going to look like. Here's what the landing pages are going to look like. Here's why we do the ads this way. Here's why we only do YouTube ads and not all the platforms. Here's why we do the landing page like this versus this. Here's why we do bookings. Here's why we do retargeting. We also have our risk reversal. Here's why we do our risk reversal. Here's the price, but here's how we calculate the price. Here's everything that is included in our service. It's worth almost $50,000 per month, but we only charge $2,997 per month. So all of these things will make more sense when you do pitch deck, and you will have minimum objections, right? If you do a normal just sales call, you will have more objections because people don't understand it as well. So that's why it's so powerful to do pitch deck, because you empower the buyer with more information regarding the service, right? And it's easier to showcase value as well. Always close something on your calls as well. Very important. So if they don't buy, make sure that you schedule a follow-up call. Book the follow-up meeting on the actual call with them. Make sure that they agree to the call, but also make sure that they are genuinely interested. Be direct and ask if there's something about your solution or offer that they don't like. Identify and discuss it on the call. So here's also a thing that you're going to get better at over time as you get more experience with sales calls. Because sometimes people will show no or very, very little interest, and they will be like, hey, let's go, let's buy. Myself as a buyer on sales call, I'm kind of like that. I'm like, you know, I've almost already decided before I jump on the call. I've done my research before the call, and I'm like, huh, this is interesting. I'll only jump on a sales call if I'm going to buy, essentially. And, or normally I do it that way at least. I don't waste my time even jump on a call if I'm not interested. However, a lot of people are like they want to learn. They jump on sales calls to learn and kind of keep up to date with what's going on in the market. But some buyers like myself, I might just sit there like, no, I don't have too many questions. Yeah, looks good. Okay. I might ask a couple of questions, and then at the end, the salesperson might be like, huh, this guy is, it's not that easy to sell this guy, or he might not, it's that interesting. And then out of the blue, I'm like, okay, let's go, let's go, I'm ready to go. And they're like, huh? Yeah, I want to buy, let's go, right? So you might have some of those people, and then you have some people that are like super interested and like, oh, this sounds perfect, Max. Very interesting. I'm just going to go and check with my partner, and then let's get it signed and let's get started. And then you don't hear from them again. because that's a smoke screen. It's like they might not want to hurt you, or they don't want to waste more time, and they want an easy out from the calls, or they're just going to tell you that they're interested, and then something else happens and they actually don't buy. So before you book this follow-up call, just make sure that the prospect is like actually interested, because you don't want to waste your time neither, and neither do you want to waste their time, and you don't want to book a call and like block your calendar with somebody who's not going to show up anyways. So just like, it's like when you play poker, it's also like, just show the hand. It's like, just ask them like up front, like, John, like, if we're just gonna put all of the cards on the table here, like, are you actually interested in this, or is there anything that you don't really like, or something that you don't believe in, or is there anything that's like that you don't like about this? Just ask them, just give them the chance, and either like, no, I really like it, or they're gonna tell you like, yeah, you know, is it really necessary for us to use this thing? And they might be like, they might just misunderstood something. And over time, you will be a lot better about like identifying those smoke screens and calling them out, essentially, right? And also, if they want to sign up, simply let them know that you will be sending them a contract and payment link over the email. Once that is done, start the onboarding process. Or you can just do the payment over the call as well. That's definitely doable as well. So that is the sales script. And now let's continue to the next point, and that is going to be the sales tracking, right? So tracking your sales calls are very, very important. I'm going to explain to you why here in just a sec, but you can go to maxpearson.com/sales-tracking, and then you can open up this link, and I prepared a super simple tracking sheet for you. You have different columns right here. You have different rows for different sales calls, and then you have the different months here, so you can keep track on everything. We also color grade it or color code it, so it's easier to overview. You know, yellow, it's like in progress. Green is, you know, or in progress, you're currently following up and so forth. Green is that you close the client, and then also red is like abandoned or lost, right? So that they told you no or weren't interested. It's very simple. You just put in the call date, when did you do the sales call, the name of the prospect, the email, the phone number, the price that you pitched. This is also very important to keep track of, because sometimes you might speak to a bigger client and you pitch $4,000 per month because they want some extra stuff. And then you might speak to a smaller client that you still want to sell to because you still believe in them, but you'd be like, before the call, they will not most likely afford $2,997. So I can give them like $2,497. And so just keep track of what you've pitched, because you might do the actual close here in like 4 weeks, and then it's like, what price did I give them? And it's just going to be awkward. So it's just better to remember what price that you pitched. Also, some notes here, very important. You know, if there's anything particular discussed, it could be like personal stuff. This guy will be traveling to Sweden in next summer. He has a niece, or like his sister lives here. He loves football, super nice guy, runs a great business. He really liked the marketing system, especially with retargeting about the branding. He was just going to double check a thing with his partner, and then we would book a follow-up call. We actually have the follow-up call booked for next week, and they're pretty much ready to go. Or you can write, super like weird guy, he was almost like he only wanted to fish for information. He told me he was interested, and then it was like a super drawn out process, and he never bought. And or like you might follow up with him, or he kept you kind of on the edge for like, you know, for like 4 weeks, and you're just like, I'm just tired of this guy. You have a note about that as well. That's also very powerful, because let's say in 5 months here, or in 4 months, in May, let's say, this guy, you get an email. Hi, Max, you know, we talked a couple of months ago. We're ready to go now. And then you just, okay, let me see if I can find this guy. Here he is. And it's red, and it says like a warning, you know, don't spend too much time on this guy, just fished for information, and yada, yada, yada. That doesn't happen that often, but it's just nice to have it tracked, because then you can say, hi, John, I remember everything. I remember you talked about this, and that. We also had a conversation going for almost a month and you never bought, so are you ready to go? I can send you the contract. Let's go. You know, you can be more aggressive with that person then. So yeah, that's very good about having notes, and then also the follow-up. So it's very nice to just keep track of the follow-ups here. You can see like, okay, I followed up with this guy a week ago right now. Still haven't received an answer. Let's follow up with him again. Let's send him an email or an Instagram message or whatever it might be, right? So very, very powerful, very simple. You can just go here, click on file, make a copy to your own drive. And then what I recommend is that you bookmark it like this into your browser. So you can just keep it in your browser like here, and you can bookmark it, and then you will have your sales tracking sheet. And After each and every single sales call you do, make sure that you track them in here. All right, so that's pretty much it for this video. Let's summarize this video and let's continue. So customize the sales script, right? So customize the sales script so that it suits your super niche marketing agency. Again, the main thing is that you understand the concept of spin, right? But still customize the script. It's very nice to have that script in the beginning. Nowadays, I don't even have a script, right? And I'm sure you can kind of see that how I talk about sales, that I can do it off the cuff. Because over time you get to know your market and your niche better. So over time, you're not even gonna have a script that you read. But in the beginning, it can be nice to just have some of these questions outlined on a piece of paper in front of you so that you don't read it verbatim, but you're like, okay, ask about like the goal. And then you can just naturally ask them, okay, so where do you want to grow the business to over the next 12 or 9 months? And then you always know, how to do the implication and need payoff questions to dig into it. Practice makes perfect. Read it out loud together with your pitch deck, sales role play. Role play the sales with yourself in your head, lie down in your bed, put in some calming music in your head, and just kind of visualize the sales call, how it go, how you use implication questions, how you use need payoff questions, how you do pitch presentation, how people love it, how people sign up, how we get some. You can also play around with objection questions, right? So you might get objection questions. You could play around with that as well, and how you're going to object them or respond to them, etc. Also, tracking sheet, download it and bookmark it. The money is in the follow-up, okay? So subscribe and follow me on Instagram for important updates. Also share the course. I need you guys' help. You know this by now. And for today's quote is from Henry Ford. I thought this one was very fitting. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right? So confidence in sales is very important. And now I'm not meaning about like confidence that you're going to be like the alpha dude on the call who's like talking over people and being like, oh yeah, let's just buy it, right? You don't want to be like that. It's still understanding, listening to people, but you still need confidence in believing in yourself. And this is important when you do sales, because a lot of people tell themselves like, hey, I suck at sales. I'm so bad at sales. And it's almost like I don't even want to say it. Instead of what you should think, I'm always getting better at sales. I'm learning spin. I know about spin. I'm actually a really, really good salesperson. I'm better than most other people out there. Most other agencies out there, they have no idea about spin, or they know about spin, but they don't utilize it. And I utilize implication questions and need payoff questions on every single sales call. Pretty much every single one that I talk with on the sales call, they appreciate my presentations. They appreciate the actual sales calls. They see it as a learning experience. They see it as a very professional setting. They really enjoy talking to me. They respect me. They know that I'm experienced. They see value in what I do. Also, I have a great pitch presentation that that people really enjoy. So think highly of yourself. So whether you think or you can or you can't, you're right. So don't do negative self-talk, but talk positively and think positively about yourself. And we're going to talk more about this in module 5 as well, a little bit when we talk about performance. But yeah, Henry Ford, he knew what he was talking about, right? So take his word for it. So that's it for today's video. Hope you're pumped about this. You should have your pitch deck ready by now, also your spin questions ready by now. And now let's continue, and I will see you in the next video.